I'm Pete Silldorff. I'm a volunteer here with the Friends
Where
of
is here? Oh.
the Friends of the Union Canal Tunnel Park, a volunteer group of roughly 20 really dedicated people, which is part of the Lebanon County Historical Society, the society which owns this 110-acre park, National Historic Landmark, one of Lebanon County's finest resources in the history of our region.
Well, and also, what is the signature feature of this park?
Right behind us is this nice ditch that was dug by the Irish immigrants back in the 1800s, and it ran between the two watersheds, the Schuylkill down to the Delaware Bay at Philadelphia, and connected with the other watershed, which goes from the Swatara out to the Susquehanna to the Chesapeake to Baltimore, two port cities. And we're the highest elevation here. Right here in Union Canal Tunnel Park is where the two watersheds met.
The Delaware and the Chesapeake.
Right, and we're connected by that tunnel, which is drilled through this hole, drilled by Irish immigrants.
What year was the tunnel? It was hand dug, right?
It's hand dug. The tunnel was dug between 1825 and 1827. So the first boat that came through that tunnel was in 1827.
Wow.
The alpha of, if I get this right, the alpha, it's been a long time recalling the history, the alpha of Tulpehocken, I think that was the name of it.
Okay.
If my memory serves me correct.
Well, we have another boat right behind us here. What is that one? That's the Lois H Meilly, it says?
Lois H Meilly was the first president of the Friends of the Union Canal Tunnel Park. She was a board member with me at the same time on the Lebanon County Historical Society, and Lois really led the early organization in efforts to do everything we started to do and continue to do.
Did you
but I must say,
Lois?
Oh yeah, for many years on this endeavor. But I got to mention, with adequate force, the person who was the real motivator, the real force behind the inspiration, it was Earl Libby.
I know, knew Earl.
Yeah.
What a great guy.
What a great guy. He was a superior, really one of the outstanding scoutmasters, and one of my scout leaders through the years I was as a boy in Scout. And he held that position for 20 years.
Wow.
Before him was Jack Foster, another superior St. Mary's Church, the Catholic Church. Jack Foster was the scoutmaster there and also the president of the Historical Society. Two scoutmasters, two presidents of the Historical Society, most concerned with preserving and buffering this particular feature of the Union Canal.
Right.
We're the only stretch that has any water, navigable water.
Right.
And we go through this hill.
Yeah, I think it's cool. And these stones along the edge, which I'll get a picture of in a minute, I remember working with Earl, and he took stones out of that railroad bridge down here and put them at the entrance.
That was the first, yeah. And that's that stone wall there at the end of the canal. It was only many years later when I would drop in Earl's office over 7th Canal Street, that he happened to mention that, yeah, we could have had the other side of the street, 25th Street, that other wall. And to which I responded, Earl, we can still have it. If we can still have it, let's get it. He said, you think we can use it? I said, somewhere in this park is. And so
great.
With other volunteers, we were able to disassemble the west side of the wall, the overpass of the railroad wall. And that is that stone over there, that limestone.
It actually makes 25th Street safer to pass.
Oh, it does, yes.
It's not that narrow little piece where you got to fight to get through.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I also wanted to mention that right beside the park, connecting on, let's see, it would be the southwest corner, I believe, the rail trail is now going to connect.
Right behind Boscov's through the railroad tunnel, right at the entrance to the industrial park is the rail trail. And the rail trail will be ongoing construction right now, and it will be our southern boundary to the park. It is our raised mound of earth that was constructed by the railroad company, that is our southern boundary, and it'll go from one end to the other of the park and through Tunnel Hill Road. When I moved up there in 1975, there was a bridge. I could have stepped off that bridge onto the roof of a boxcar
From your house.
as it was going north, and a couple of years that was ceased, the railroad operation ceased, and it was filled in. No, excuse me, it was a regular bridge.
Some say it was a covered bridge.
Well, originally it was the Westmont Bridge, or another name was the Yellow Bridge.
Yes, that's what I've heard.
I do have an original photograph of that bridge, yeah. And because I did show that photograph to the construction crew that was clearing the rail bed again in preparation for the construction of the rail trail. But that original covered bridge, the Westmont Bridge, burned. Then it was a bridge, a steel and concrete bridge. And it was in the early 80s, I believe, after I had moved up in 75 up on Tunnel Hill Road. Then it was taken out and filled in solid, right down to the roadbed. Solid earth, compacted and solid. And now they're going to cut it out again.
Yes, well, or
right
at least put a tunnel under it.
There'll be a tunnel. Yeah, they'll cut it out, put the tunnel. It'll be a 14 foot, I think, wide and 12 foot high, I believe.
Okay.
And that'll connect from one side of the hill to the other. And it'll all be filled in again, level, but
Well,
it'll be
now,
a month.
You mentioned the other side, and I can't talk a lot about it, but I'd just like to ask you, you were neighbors with Mrs. Meilly. Did you ever talk about the rail trail?
Sure,
Tell me
sure.
what her feelings were.
In the very beginning, because when I moved up there in 75, I got my son to help me. We cleared out lock number. I had to ask the Meileys if we could do this, but we went down to explore, of course. Had to ask them whether we could come on their property. We looked at the canal lock, which was canal lock number 2 west, and it's right by the railroad bed that passes right above it. And she allowed us to work on it. We did. We tried our best and cleaned out what we could. It was only many years later that I had an Eagle Scout candidate ask me for a project. We had nothing here at the park at the time. I asked the Meileys whether we went through the whole process of getting approval by the Conservancy, the rail trail, and everybody else concerned that we could count that as a community service project. So that was a long project, and we cleaned off lock number 2, cleaned out the lock. It's in pretty good shape. And at that time, in fact, there are 2 big signs there, carved wooden engraved signs. There's a path to lock.
I saw those.
Yes.
Yes.
And they were part of that project, but now it's overgrown again a bit, but that was heavy overgrowth. That was cleaned off. That lock was clean good. But at that time, I remember Lois asking me whether anybody, do you think, would be interested in really cleaning this whole area up? And I said, absolutely. I said, Lois, you know, when this rail trail comes in, and she was all in support of it, I said, when this rail trail comes in, they're going to look at this lock and say, wow, what a great spot for a picnic grove, a destination or something. They could name it Meilly Grove.
We do have
And she
lots
was
of
happy with
pocket
that.
parks. That would
Right.
be a great pocket park.
Sure.
And did you know that she actually has that carved out on her deed? It is.
It is.
It is. We do have pocket parks. We're going to make Wengert Memorial Pocket Park, which
Yep.
you obviously know about.
Sure.
And then it's Gloninger Meadows Park over here
Yep.
off of 22nd Street. And of course, Coleman Park, Union Canal
Mm-hmm.
Tunnel Park. So part of the goal of the rail trail is to connect parks,
Exactly.
connect communities.
Right.
That would include schools and places like the city of Lebanon and Jonestown.
Absolutely.
Cornwall School has a rail, and businesses. So we have the mall, places like the Jigger Shop in Mount Gretna. So all of this becomes one big community, and we can walk, we can ride bicycle,
Mhm.
and on the northern end, ride horses
Right.
to be able to get people away from the TVs and away from the little games on their
Sure.
phone and get them outdoors and enjoying family and friends and it's good. What do they call it now? Wellness, mental and physical
absolutely.
wellness.
Sure. I think local hospital, Good Samaritan WellSpan, is it now?
WellSpan.
They have a program that they utilize this park.
They utilize a board in their cabin too.
There you go.
Yes, yeah.
Yep.
Both are destinations.
Yep, and I think the library has something going on also.
Okay.
With and I found them a few different locations. There's a post with I think it's a rubbing you have to make. It's a program of
Yes.
Families will do it. They will visit a site.
And then they can prove they were there.
Do the rubbing, right.
Yeah.
Prove they were there and whatever recognition they receive. But yeah, we have one of those in the park also. We're going to be such a wonderful destination here at the Union Canal Tunnel Park.
And I can't end this interview without asking, when is our log cabin going to start? I just live 2 blocks down the road and I want to see this happen.
You mean the Krall barn?
Yeah.
Well, that was scheduled for September, so we're in September.
Yes,
and
we are.
It should be very soon. There's delays. We had a lot of rain.
I want to know about the groundbreaking.
That I don't know.
Okay.
But I don't know because I think the wet season we've had, maybe the contractor has been delayed. But that is to happen right over there.
Okay, I was thinking it was right in that area. It's going to be in this area.
Yeah,
okay.
there were stakes over there. I did know it was right off that edge.
All right.
It's a bank barn.
It is the oldest one in the county, 1700s.
And it's I don't know. Could be the oldest, I'm not sure, but it is a rather old one, and it's a Swiss German barn, which were built very substantially. And they expect those big beams to be brought over here and laid out on the grounds. So
I'm going to keep my eyes out, and we're going to do a little expose on that as well. Is that okay?
That's going to be great.
Okay.
That'll be wonderful.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Pleasure, Pete.